without changing, without Senate Bill 128, the permanent dividend program in a few years will go to zero. I don't think no one has refuted that. It's pretty much non-debatable. On the path we're on, it will go to zero. So those that are concerned about the impact it'll have on Alaska reduction in the permanent fund check, they need to also envision what it would be like to have no check. And that's very likely where we could be in a couple of years if we don't make that change. So I cannot emphasize that enough, that nothing changes. We continue the path we're on. The dividend program will go away by 2020. You know, the dividend reduction, the dividend check reduction impacts everybody differently. Not any two people are situated identically in Alaska, so there are different impacts on different individuals. We have looked, obviously, the fiscal package we submitted had a balanced approach. We felt it was very balanced. It was very broad-based. There were many pieces to it, so it would not be overly burdensome on any one different part of our state. And so those other pieces are still important to us, and we'll continue to work on to bring the balance to that. You know, one thing that this bill also does is it begins the change to move us off of a 90% dependent on oil to about a 21% dependence on oil in Alaska's economy. And it's time we make that change. There's lots of different reasons for that, not just the price of oil, but also the throughput is down significantly, and that's what happens on the non-renewable resource. The chances of it going back up to 2.1 billion barrels a day is highly unlikely. So this makes that shift that it's a better fit within the economic situation we're in now. Our largest asset at this point is, rather than our resource development right now, it's the permanent fund earnings.
Yeah, we understand that there's still going to be a $1 billion to $1.5 billion deficit next year, and we thoroughly expect that will be the motivation to look at additional revenues next year, as well as to look at additional spending reductions next year. As far as squeezing any more out of the permanent fund earnings, the formula that's put in place is essentially is kind of the maximum draw that we could make from the permanent fund earnings, and expect to protect the corpus of the fund. So we won't be going back to the permanent fund for more money. We will be looking at more traditional measures, revenues and reductions in spending.